The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackass. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We are three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
And today we're back with the WildBoyz.
Hey, well done, Chris. Bringing the energy. This is the earliest I think you've ever been awake to record, Chris, and also the most energetic you've been in the intro. So maybe you know what, Chris? You know what you're telling us? All recordings need to be early morning recordings. AJ, I think we just established this, right?
That's what he's telling us. Yeah, sounds about right.
This episode came out on May 2nd, 2004. Okay, just
steamrolling past that. All right.
No, it's kind of a segue. It's kind of a segue into my fact, you know?
Okay.
Because I was so tired.
You went to bed early last night, Mikey.
I did.
What, 2 a.m.?
Chris logs in. He's like, we're like, how you doing, Chris? He's like, because he never wants to do the early morning recordings. He's like, no, you know what? I'm okay. I'm tired, but like I went to bed super early. And I'm like, Chris, you sent me reels on Instagram at 2 a.m. last night. That's not, he's like, yeah, that's early. I'm like, you're a maniac. You're an absolute maniac.
Well, I am pretty tired, as much as I'm hiding it. So I just brought a light fact today because I didn't want to get myself too jacked up first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So this episode came out May 2nd, 2004. This is season 2, episode 2, and this was the day that the Yellow massacre concluded. It began on February 2004 when armed Muslims killed 78 Christians at Yelwa, and in response, about 630 Muslims were killed by Christians on May 2nd.
Wow!
Ending the massacre.
So that stopped it. The Christians struck back, and then that was it.
Usually, we don't get that last word in these current times. You know what I mean? Like it's usually the other way around.
Wait. What are you talking about? Explain your thinking here. I don't even know if I want to get into this, actually. I feel like we're treading in some very dangerous territory.
Yeah, don't read too much into a light fact, Mikey. This fact was light. I had in my bagel this morning.
Yeah, this is a light fact. There are over 1,000 deaths before we get started talking about WildBoyz. Holy moly.
Well, I'm a wild boy. What can I say?
Yeah, you are. You are a wild boy. The wild is the WildBoyz. Holy shit. I guess we'll move past it. Chris, Jay and I were kind of talking in the green room before we hit record, before you showed up, and we were feeling pretty good about this episode. This was like peak. There are a lot of elements of this episode I think that represent what I love about WildBoyz, and I laughed out loud a couple times. Are you in the same boat, Chris? Did you like this one?
I like every single episode. Honestly.
Okay, fair.
Like
fair.
I am all about this show. So, it's oddly enough you say that, like this one to me wasn't one that like popped out specifically.
Sure.
But
see, that's funny. That's why I bring it up, because sometimes that happens, where like one of us will really like an episode and the other ones are just like, no, there was nothing special to it. But there's something, I guess it's like the things I like most about WildBoyz are kind of on display in this in a lot of ways. But there are also a couple misses. And it got me thinking about some of the ratios of hits and misses in WildBoyz episodes, which we'll get through as we get to some of the stunts that I think may not have landed as well as they could have.
No, don't be neutral. Don't be neutral.
I have
that.
To be.
You really liked it. Just say that you really liked it.
Let
some people down. Take a side, Mikey.
There was
Stop
nothing
being
wrong with this episode. It was fucking perfect.
There was nothing wrong with it.
It was perfect. I couldn't think of a single flaw.
Yeah, dude, come on. I almost like pissed myself laughing at certain parts in this. Yeah. This was great. And that's weird for me because I'm the poo guy. So
exactly.
You know something's up. Listen, Amazon River Basin is where we're going this time. I'm excited. I fucking love a good rainforest, guys. I don't know about you.
I love a good rainforest too.
It's hot.
It's hot.
What?
No, this was a weird, this intro reminded me a little bit of, and by the way, we should give a shout out. I don't think we've ever mentioned his name, but Jacob Witkin is the narrator of WildBoyz. I don't know that he's done much else, but we talk about him all the time. We should give his name a little shout out. But did you notice the fun fact that he gives? Because he gives a fun fact at the beginning of every episode. He's like our local.
I wonder where he got that idea.
I know, right? But this time he just says, Brazil contains a staggering amount of plant and animal life that's not found anywhere. That's not a fact. That isn't a fact. That's
because he did that recording super early in the morning that day.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, how about this? Earn your stripes. Can you, off the top of your head, because I know you're an animal expert, give us a fact about Brazil that's better than has a staggering amount of plant and animal life?
I could give you like 100 facts, but one of my favorite ones is in the Amazon River.
Okay, Chris,
in Brazil.
sit down. Okay, Chris is standing. He's waving his arms about. Holy shit, he's excited right now.
I woke right up when you said that. No, but this is the coolest thing. In the Amazon River, there's these freshwater dolphins, and they're pink dolphins.
Oh, whoa. That's wild.
Yeah.
Google it. It's bizarre. It's such a trip. And they go up through, they kind of live in that brackish water. If you don't know what brackish is, it's kind of where the sea meets the fresh water. And they just like cruise up along the Amazon River in one of the Brazilian coasts. I think the coast of, I don't know, some of the other spot. But yeah, there's literally pink dolphins in Brazil, which is pretty freaking cool.
Oh, it's true.
Holy shit.
Great
those
for
things
sushi, too.
Yeah, exactly. Those things look terrifying. There's this one, oh man, they look horrifying, actually. I'm not going to lie.
I saw an episode about them when I was on mushrooms, so they looked so majestic to me. So that might make sense. I haven't really seen them since.
Yeah, that's when Chris became a man of the people right there. This moment he woke up, he realized, what am I doing, man?
Wow. This is
there's pink dolphins out there. I'm sitting here in my underwear eating Doritos. I gotta become a man. Much like SteveO and Pontius will become men in this episode, as we'll see later, which I'm excited to talk about. Should we jump in, or do you want to focus a couple more minutes on the pink dolphins of the Amazon?
No, I honestly didn't hear what anyone said for the last minute and a half. I was staring at these pictures of fucking pink freckled dolphins. They look terrifying.
You just became a man too.
They honestly look like Sammy Sosa right now after he bleached his skin. Like that's what they look like. I can't unsee that.
Hey, if you put like a Trump hairpiece on one of those guys, you think that would work?
I think it would. It
would. Close to the same color.
My pig skin is the best skin, the greatest skin. We're going to make dolphins pink again. Everyone get in line.
Mikey, why did I just love you so much all of a sudden?
Yeah, all of a sudden, Chris is standing up again. He's waving his arms.
Salute.
Next term, Trump is going to come out of the closet, and that's going to be his thing. Make America pink again.
Exactly. Yeah. The one thing that'll get him back,
He should be
not
a trans
saying
president.
Pink's a gay color.
Like,
I mean,
he's not actually president, but he identifies as president.
I'm saying that. What?
I identify as the president of the United States.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one's made a joke about that yet. I just thought.
I gotta say though, like Pink used to get such a bad rap back in the old noughties. You guys remember that? If like you wore pink, you were, you know,
until
people.
Ironically, I always wore pink.
Your sexual preference.
Chris always wore pink. Yeah, he showed up to his prom with a pink suit, pink tinted glasses.
Thank you.
Pink diamond earring, pink cover on his phone. It was ridiculous.
But I gotta say, you gotta give props. I mention wrestling every fucking episode now, so I might as well do it again. Bret the Hitman Hart, man, breaking down the stereotype. He's like, fuck that. There's nothing wrong with wearing pink, and I'm gonna fucking rock this shit. And to this day, here in Cowtown, if you go to a WHL, you go see the Calgary Hitmen play. Those motherfuckers, they'll rock pink on their jersey.
I love
I'm
it.
Afraid.
I love it.
Did Cameron get inspired by Bret the Hitman Hart?
Probably.
Wow.
Probably, yeah.
That's groundbreaking.
Why not? Listen, guys, we got some places to go. We got to hit the rainforest. We got to get in there, see what this motherfucker's all about. But I got to ask you first, because I had a thought here. Mikey, you mentioned the narrator.
Yep.
Great narrator. Love this guy. Right after the narration, the song picks up and we get the classic WildBoyz theme song. We've been doing a little bit of Viva La Bam before this. If you haven't, go check that out.
Yep.
I recommend it. Between these two theme songs, which one's getting stuck in your head more for the two of you? Which one are you humming after
the WildBoyz for sure.
WildBoyz
When I hear that, like, and then it just rock, like I literally get like goosebumps. I don't know. I love the show. It's a great little theme song.
I love this theme song too. Way better than the Viva La Bam one. I give the Viva La Bam one a hard time notoriously. But
I agree. I think the Viva La Bam one is almost like a joke. The reason I like the intro is because Bam Margera looks up at the screen and says whatever the fuck I want and then walks off a building. Just walks off. Opening theme song, by the way, The Age of Pamparius by Turbo Negro. So there you go.
Okay.
A name I'm uncomfortable saying.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah.
For this show?
Yeah, for WildBoyz. Yeah.
Did they not also do the Viva La Bam song? I'm pretty sure they did.
Did they?
Not? Yeah. There's a fun fact if I'm right.
Viva La Bam is Daniel Lion-Eye, king of rock and roll.
Yeah, but is he not in that band, or am I just making shit up now?
Is Daniel Lion-Eye?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
This is what we do now, by the way, folks. We're doing the research on the show.
We've got our own. No, that Daniel Lion-Eye is from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Never mind then. Let's go to the rainforest, boys. Let's go. We're going boating. Stick a feather in your cap, why don't you? Let's hit the old canoe. If you guys notice, this canoe is half full of water, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes.
They seem to be having a hard time. But they do their little intro. They speak to the camera, let us know what we're doing here. Yeah, it was good to see the boys out getting some exercise.
Yeah.
It's important. But today, our first segment, we're gonna go and meet a Brazilian monkey spider. Now, we get our very first, I believe, because the times are changing, guys. We get an internet reference right here. Pontius says he looked it up. And these fucking Brazilian monkey spiders, they don't fuck around. They eat birds for a living, guys. So, serious shit.
What are you laughing at, Chris?
I don't know, just for a living?
Yeah.
Not to live, but for a living.
They, every morning, the spider alarm goes off. They throw 3 of their legs over there to shut it down. They roll over in bed. They grab their little top hat.
They always have to have a top hat.
4 briefcases that they carry with them. They sit down. Their wife packs them a lunch. They kiss their kid. They go, all right, it's time to eat some fucking birds. Does that mean that their webs are thick enough that it catches birds? Or do they just like fucking jump on birds from up in the trees like this is Avatar? Holy shit.
Yeah, I hope they're jumping.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, they're like
better
jumping
visual.
spiders are pretty crazy.
Yep, and they're hairier than your scrotum. So there's that as well. SteveO, lay down, or I'm going to hate you, says Chris Pontius.
Did he say hate or hit?
I don't know. I hope he said I'm going to hate you.
If he said hate,
funnier,
that's actually way funnier, yeah.
SteveO's response to having a spider crawling all over him is basically that he's just saying, I don't like him, I hate him, get him off. So when
he's
Pontius,
acting like a kid at a circus when the clown comes up to him and the clown doesn't realize he is. Like, I don't like him, I hate him, get him away. He's like hugging his parents' like leg and just burying his face into the back of his mom's knee. Yeah.
I thought that spiders like cute. Like I actually like spiders, which is really bizarre because if you talk to anybody that's really scared of snakes, they really don't mind spiders, and people that are really scared of spiders really don't mind snakes. There's like some weird switch in the brain that there's probably some kind of psychological evolutionary explanation for it, but it's like very strange. It's like almost everybody that I've ever talked to that has one doesn't care about the other.
That's wild. I wonder why that is. I have a healthy fear of both.
No, you're not really scared of snakes.
Mikey being neutral,
I'm
trying not
scared.
to upset anybody.
I'm just going right in the middle.
I've seen you walk by a snake and like not care.
I don't have
That's
a phobia
not a fear of snake.
I don't have a phobia of snakes. I don't like snakes.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about if you're like extremely on one side, like Coley's extremely scared.
No, I'm not. No, I know. I don't have a phobia. I'm saying I just have a healthy aversion to both of them.
A healthy aversion to like making coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Past 11 o'clock. Yeah. You know, like
I wake
Mikey
up.
doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't see a snake and think, oh, man, I kind of want to fuck that snake. You know, he's
always.
You know, he keeps his distance.
Yeah. I wake up every morning thinking that today is the day my life is going to unfurl. That's the first thought I have in my head every morning. So
you know, that's the only time I've ever heard that word other than that Eminem Superman song, unfurl.
Unfurl.
I literally have never heard anyone use it other than in that song.
Speaking of Eminem, if you look in the background of the production crew on today's episode, every so often, everyone's dressed as like, they're dressed for the Amazon. They've got like, you know, the tank tops or the jungle hats or like the bucket hats, whatever. There's one guy dressed like Jonah Hill in the opening scene of 22 Jump Street or 21 Jump Street, like dressed like Stan himself. Like he's walking out of a New Era store or something like that. And like just looks totally like white shirt, long, like short pants a la John Cena. Yeah, it's a weird look. Keep an eye out for
weird look. You know, this begins something that we're going to see a running joke in this episode, which I think is what makes one of the things that makes this episode great. Pontius will scoop up the spider at this point. Yeah. And you think he's going to go back to SteveO and fuck with him, right? Because he's being sneaky about it. He puts it on one of the camera guys, which turns out to be Trip Taylor, I believe.
No, it's not. It's not Trip Taylor.
It's not.
He does Trip Taylor towards the end of the episode. This is a guy who doesn't get...
Who's this guy?
He doesn't get a name card, so I had to do a bit of research on him. The best I could figure is that this was Mark Rackley, who often does main camera on WildBoyz. And because he's always the one holding the camera right up in their face, I think that's him. I found some pictures of him online when he's a little bit older. It looks similar. Interestingly, Mark Rackley also did some underwater diving and got bit by a shark and almost died during it. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's got some bad luck with animals. They do not like him, and we'll see that later. But I even wrote in my notes later on, give this guy a credit. He deserves a credit.
He's like the main character in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Pontius scoops it up, puts it on him, and this guy obviously he's in the hating spiders camp because he loses his shit. He's yelling like, "Get it off of me! Get it off of me!" He brushes it off, but then what happens here is an interesting phenomenon. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but he gets like the phantom crawlies here, where the spider's long gone, but he still feels like it's on him, and it actually like radiates outwards that other people in the crew start freaking out, even though that spider's nowhere near them. Did you notice that?
Yeah, 100%. You get the heebie-jeebies. Like, and I right now talking about it, I feel like there's a spider on the back of my neck. Like, you just get this, like, I mean, it makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. We are 1,000 times larger than spiders. We have no reason why we should fear something that small. So innately, we have to have an aversion to them. It has to make our skin crawl. There has to be like a visceral reaction. So we know, don't touch that thing because it could be poisonous. Otherwise, we wouldn't be afraid of them at all. And then we might get ourselves killed by getting bitten by one.
Yeah, I thought that was funny just to see that, like you said, that reaction. It's like just ingrained in us.
Yeah.
Super interesting. But we move on, and boys, it's time to shock you like an electric eel. Chris Adland here, or as I like to put it, this is the scientist.
Chris thought you were talking to him.
I got excited because that's like funny that I thought about this.
That's the podcasting equivalent of when you wave at someone, or you think someone's waving at you, so you wave at them and they're just waving at someone behind you. That's what Chris just did, and I loved every minute of it.
Well, you delayed the Chris. You said Chris, and then I'm like, yeah, and you're like, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Well, how about this then? Chris Adland, he's the scientist here, and he's an electric eel expert, I guess. His last name is almost spelled Chris ADD Land, and I was just thinking,
Chris.
Sounds like a guy I know. But, hey, you know what? I think the reason we're here today, the reason we've gathered at the Electric Eel tank facility, if you want to call it that, we're going to see what the fish have to say. Because it's about fucking time, guys. We gave these fish a voice,
Gotta give them a voice.
About fucking time. They have a device they can stick in the tank with the electric eels, and they can convert the electricity into sound, which is cool. And almost immediately, a pull my finger joke comes out because, you know, if you haven't noticed, these kind of sound like farts, and I just think classy as usual.
That's the weirdest thing about these things. Like they're like through the electric currents of a fish, it turns it into a sound, right? Electricity is a vibration. You can turn that into whatever. I'm not a scientist. I don't know the actual explanation of it, but the first thing,
I do know the explanation.
What is the explanation? Then I'll think.
So how they actually produce electricity is the nerve fibers join each electrolyte on one of its sides, but not the other one. So when there's actually a positive Na plus flow into the cell, because it's not actually a closed circuit, it's able to discharge the shock and this potential temporary gradient across the cell and discharge of electricity.
Yeah, and
personally, now say it again without staring at your phone.
Basically, they are able to use this Na plus charge to two open cells and just put it to one, and then it could actually create this shock.
That's cool.
They actually lose their power each shock that they do, and it like has like a half-life. Like
I would imagine
50%.
Got to recharge the battery.
So if it's like the sixth one, it's like basically next to nothing. But
some of them rely on solar energy, but I think the most reliable ones are coal energy. I think the clean coal, the one that the electric eels who get their energy from clean
bring the coal miners back, man.
Exactly.
Guys, make America great again. Hey,
I think
quick thing. So I thought of two things that we've seen electric eels with Jackass a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's two things, extremely gay and extremely worth it, that need to be done. Well, at least one of them.
Eel up the butt?
No, but close. A lot of the times they want to test to see if the eel can transport through people, so they hold on, they do a chain of people to see if everybody gets shocked.
Right.
I want to see a docking version, or tie the dicks together.
Yeah,
tie the dicks together.
Either tie the dicks together or a docking. And then get some gay guys and just see if they're actually having butt sex, if it actually goes through.
So for this experiment,
it would be a shocking orgasm.
It has to be gay guys in your mind.
The second your dick goes in a butt, you're gay.
Oh, is that
unless
true?
It's a girl's butt?
I was going to say, what about a woman's butt? Yeah.
No, that just means you're gay for girls.
Honestly, having a wife or girlfriend is pretty much the gayest thing you could ever do. It's just way less cool.
Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'd rather be just hanging out with a dude, you know?
100%.
You ever hear that Norm Macdonald sketch that probably hasn't aged too well with him and Will Ferrell, the first two gay guys?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, it hurts so much. Yeah. Norm Macdonald's got some good shit. No, but what I was going to say about the sounds that the electricity makes. The first one is like, beam. Then the next one's like, beam. And then the third one's like, beam. Musical. And you imagine that the next fish is like, I'm going to sing like a fucking, this is going to be great. And he puts it in, it's like, it's like, what is that? Why does that fish have to sound like literal shit?
You know,
do you think it's embarrassed of the sounds that it's making?
Maybe he's just like
called the
Down syndrome one.
What are you talking about? Are you trying to just say some shit today? Is that, did 100%. You wake up?
Yeah, I'm pissed 100%. Off that you guys got me up early, and I'm trying to make you guys feel fucking uncomfortable.
So you're taking it up on marginalized groups.
Sure. Nothing new here.
I'm actually trying to uplift them by giving them their own voice because I'm a man of the people.
Oh, okay.
I see where you're going with that one. Yeah. I was going to say, I think the scientists probably named that electric eel or nicknamed him Jay, but that's just me.
Because it sounds like shit.
Shitting, yes. Can we talk about the next electric eel, though, guys?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
The 200-volt sucker. SteveO's going to test it and see how it feels. As soon as his arm goes in, and it's like a one-finger touch, it's a light touch, he's just back out of there, like huge splash of water. He's running around yelling, ow, ow, ow. Like, clearly, it doesn't take much to piss these things off. You don't have to go and, give them a good rub down. You just poke them. They'll shock you. Yeah. So that's why this was just the preliminary test for the real deal here. Now, they have a 6-foot-long eel outside. They head out there to the pond, and basically what they're going to do, and I love Pontius' line here. He comes out and says, is there a thing you had to do but didn't want to? I mean, isn't that everything on this fucking show, basically?
This episode especially, there's a ton of that. Yeah.
So the 600-volt eel comes swimming up, and the two guys, Steve and Pontius, are holding hands here, which I love because you know exactly what's going to happen. Pontius touches them, and they get the shock. They prance around. But what I love here is that the eel could smell the camera guy that we referenced earlier, and he goes back for some revenge. He's not done yet. The camera guy gets it, but the great thing about this is it wasn't provoked. It wasn't like SteveO or Pontius making it happen. He was just standing there filming, and he gets a big fucking nasty shock, and the camera pans to him in the water. They're just kind of like flailing around, swearing, and
he fucking drops his camera in the water. I mean, it's waterproof, so I'm sure it's not an issue. But he just gives up. Mark Rackley, that guy can't catch a break. By the way, we should say, because they say this before they get stung, I don't know, shocked, is that if you put your finger in an electric outlet, that's around 150 volts. This is a 600 volt shock from this eel, which that's crazy. Like that's way more than I would have thought that an electric eel can do. For some reason, I just thought that it was like, you know what, you feel it, but it's not that bad. 600 volts. Right. And I know we've done this before on the podcast because Wee Man gets it a bunch and McGahee gets it. But yeah, that's more than I would have expected for sure.
Yep, and we head away to a beautiful sunrise.
It is pretty shocking.
Beautiful sunrise, boys, on a sandbar, and what's this? 2 naked butts running out of the water over the sandbar and jumping over to the other side. Nice this little
made me realize we didn't get the naked runaway in last week's episode.
Oh, we did not. Is there herds of animals in India?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But there aren't even herds in this one. It's just them running over a sandbar and back into the water.
They're having too much fun with Corey Shanker.
Yeah, exactly. Should
we start a counter? Like, should we be counting how many naked runs there are in the total series of?
I think so.
WildBoyz. Yeah, I don't know.
I think we should also. I think we should, because we've moved away from rankings. Can we start ranking the naked runs out of 10?
Mm-hmm. We could. Do
I like the idea.
All right, let's start today.
This one. Look, real, clean, close, clear shots of the butt. Yes, there were no animals, but I like the artistic appeal of coming out of the water and going back into it. We don't have to change perspective. They do for us. I'm actually going to give this one a solid 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the water, it's created, like, almost recreated one of my favorite genres is like oiled ass.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm going to give that a strong 7.5 out of 10 as well.
Nice.
I had to think for a second when you said one of your favorite genres. Like, is there a musical genre called oiled ass that I haven't heard of? I know.
I just love that whole sloppiness where it's like this body slip and slide and shit.
I know.
That's a good one.
I'm with you on that.
Nice.
Yeah, whatever oiled ass sounds like musically, I'd like to know. Somebody please send us a clip.
We need to hold one of those electric meters up to it to see what it sounds like.
I've heard that noise before. If you've ever had if you ever fucked a girl in the ass and then after it's like all lubricated up and then she does that little cum fart. It's a really cool noise. Yeah.
It's a cool noise. It's Chris. Actually, Chris had that as his ringtone for a while.
Oh, yeah. I hope so. Can you imagine just waiting in line? You're at the fucking Blockbuster or something. And
well, a lot of it will stay there for a while. I just know the rest of your day is going to be kind of miserable because you're slowly going to have cum leaking out of your ass, and it just brings me joy in my sick, sadistic mind.
What? That is fucked up. Yeah.
Gotta wear a pad.
Gotta wear a pad.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just going to give this one a quick 7 out of 10. Nothing wrong with it. Nice. It was good. It was a little too short, but wet ass. You get a bonus point for that for sure. So
I like it.
Like Chris said, Amazon, boys. The Amazon has the largest snake in the world, but the problem with that is you can't get 2-day shipping because it's just too big. It's too big.
It is. Yes. Yeah. I'm surprised it took us this long to have an Amazon joke. When's Bezos going to show up? I was wondering when the first person would make that joke.
Well, I'm glad that it got thunderous laughs and applause.
Well, I didn't realize it was an Amazon joke for the first. I just was like, yeah, man, it sucks when you're trying to order something and it takes 2 days. Then all of a sudden it dawned on me. So I just kind of shut up because I was embarrassed. Dude, you know what the weirdest thing is?
Right. What?
Anacondas are my least feared snake.
I get that. I honestly understand
and
that.
pythons. The bigger the snake, with exceptions of those long, if they're big and fat, cool, because I feel like they're slower and they're less sneaky. The fucking cobras, they could be 10 feet long, but they're skinny, fast little fuckers. Fuck them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't mind anacondas, or if I have to hold a snake, I'd rather hold a big one than a small one.
Mikey, you ever throw a rubber snake on Chris? Go to the dollar store, get a bucket.
We have done that in the past, but we learned that it's not a joke anymore. And Chris will do. Here's the thing.
Tell them what my warning was. What I said I would do to the next person that pranks me with a snake.
If I recall correctly, you would stand on their bed and piss on their face while they're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we've had this conversation.
Yeah. The thing is, you want to get in a prank war with someone who's willing to give it back to plus or 5% of the intensity of the prank you give to them. Chris is just going to go nuclear the first time you do something to him. So I don't want to get in prank wars.
It's just not a good. I'll just go right to violence.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Fun. This snake will not have its way with us without wearing the anacondom. Yes, that's why we're here. We're going to put a condom on a snake's head, which I love the concept of this. It's probably not nice from a fucking PETA standpoint, or I don't fucking care though. It's funny. It
is a funny concept.
Come on. So the snake's angry, obviously. It's trying to snap at him. What I noticed here, though, is when Pontius bends down to hold the snake, he's gotten really good at this.
He's really good at handling animals, man.
Yeah, he was kind of you remember, I can't remember where we saw the footage, if it was early WildBoyz or maybe some Jackass stuff, when they were just starting to do this, and Pontius was asking the handler constantly, okay, what's the right way to do this? He was not confident. Now he just fucking bends down, grabs this thing by the neck, and he's good. He's making jokes the whole time.
It's clear that he was learning. He was learning when he was asking those questions. It wasn't just get me through to the next stunt. He's gotten so comfortable around animals, and I think it adds more legitimacy to the show. Not to get too serious about it, but when you have someone like him who is clearly now passionate about the animals, but is also able to be silly, it gives it more legitimacy because it's he respects them. He's able to handle them. He's able to calm his emotions and his nerves when he's around them so that the animals respect him, which I think is a huge element of nature shows. And it's just nice to watch him because SteveO is the opposite of that. SteveO's always going to go 10 out of 10 fear level. So it's nice to see Pontius kind of handling them with a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. And putting the fucking condom on the snake, though, trying to roll it down and everything, there's something about it that's just so stupid. It's of course, only these guys would do this, but I don't know. It's the perfect kind of thing for these two guys to be doing together. Like, this is the perfect SteveO and Pontius sketch. No one else could have pulled this off in the same way. I love that they mentioned the TV censors forbid them from showing this any further, and they have to put a stop to it. But we do get a big finale.
Do you guys think that was true? Like, do you think that? I think so too. I think it became too sexual if they literally roll the condom down. Yeah,
I didn't think from a sexual standpoint. I was thinking from like an animal cruelty thing. Like, what if the animal got away and he got that thing stuck on his head? True. Like, you can't roll it down past a certain point, or like it would almost be like could they breathe properly? Like a plastic bag on your head.
When I saw the concept of it, I was worried they were gonna do that, and I was like, I don't really want to see that. I know, Chris, you don't love snakes, but I also don't love the idea of going into their home and fucking with them. So I'm glad that they didn't go overboard and actually hurt the snake by rolling the condom down.
Yeah, I don't think you can, right? That's probably why they made the joke. Yes. I don't think you can go that far, like you guys said. But just something about the silliness of this all. But I think what I love most out of anything here is that they understand how to take this sketch to another level and just get a genuine laugh. And the reason I love this so much is this part specifically where SteveO puts the condom on his head. He has the old Howie Mandel here, and he inflates it by covering his nose. So now with an inflated condom on his head, they stand about, 10 feet apart. And Chris says, SteveO, like, charge me, give it to me in the butt. And he just runs headfirst into Pontius's ass. The condom explodes. SteveO falls on his butt. And I just laughed so hard. Like, it just came out of me naturally. Like, I wasn't even expecting to laugh. It was really good.
Because usually when you try to have like a balloon pop joke with a condom, it doesn't break. And then unless it's SteveO trying to break it on his head, like with the condoms that he had in Jackass 4.5 or whatever. But usually it doesn't work because condoms are not supposed to break. This one did. And I definitely got a laugh out of it as well. What really would have made this stunt for me though? And I was kind of hoping it would happen the whole time. I was holding out hope. I didn't know for sure if we were going to get it, but there was a part of me that thought we might, was if the anaconda vomited up Jon Voight and it winked at the camera. That would have been, I don't think there could have been a stunt better than that if that's what we got.
Dude, I remember watching that movie. I was so stoned and I was like when you're like super fucking high, like you're not just like I smoked a little joint, you're like gonzo high, and you see someone and you're like, I couldn't stop looking at Jon Voight. I'm like, where do I know him from? Like, but he had that stupid ass accent. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy?
Not quite Cajun accent.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was so creepy down there. And you're just like, I just like spent the whole time like wondering about this guy's back character. And then he just got so evil and it felt so dark and mysterious. Since then, like, Anaconda is like one of my favorite movies ever, even though I hate snakes. It is a great
movie.
Fucking, oh my god! I might watch that
Ice
today.
Cube, Jennifer Lopez, Jon Voight. What more do you want?
What
a cast! I think she is. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Wow,
Jon Voight. Holy fuck! He's what's her face's dad? Angelina Jolie's dad.
Yes. Yeah.
Estranged father.
So next up, boys, we're headed to the Impa Reserve, and
Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is also in that movie.
Oh yeah, shit. I remember that. He was like a
Danny
dorky,
Trejo, Eric Stoltz.
2000s.
Holy fuck, that's a good cast.
Yeah.
How did you get all those guys to sign on to Anaconda?
I think it was just like their agent called and they're like, look, there's a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Jon Voight gets eaten by a snake and winks at the camera. Are you in or are you out? And everyone's like, I'm fucking in 100%.
Yeah. I think that's off the tail of, no pun intended, but of the Godzilla 2000 Godzilla movie.
No, this Anaconda's 1997.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Because it seems like those two go hand in hand almost, don't they?
A little bit.
Kind of corniness. Yeah, the monster kind of style movie. But yeah, anyways, boys, we're headed to the Impa Reserve next, where they have giant river otters, and they're reintroducing these guys to the wild. So the only way to send them off, like a graduation ceremony, if you will, is to sing them a melody. Pontius has his guitar on hand here, and I wrote down the lyrics, so I'll just give it to you real quick if you want to use this. We've got poachers. The way they kill those river otters, it's not kosher. Now the poachers are in jail. They say they're gonna give them the chair, strap them in and shave off all their hair, or maybe use nair. And then the guards will come in and have their way with their butts. Make them our sluts. At this point, I was losing it. That's
always goes to sex.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's so funny because this whole time SteveO's looking at Pontius, and I noticed this because usually they're both in on the bit, and SteveO's looking at Pontius like he knows this isn't going to make the episode. And then at the end of the song, SteveO's like, dude, like out of character. He's like, dude, maybe we should write the songs before we sing it. And Bonnie's like, no, this is how it gets the best done. This is like such a miss. Like, it's so bad that it ends up being good. Like, the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? But then the fact that SteveO hates it and Pontius doubles down, it's like it goes back into, okay, I'm back on board with this.
Yeah, dude, great lyrical improvisation there, and it almost reminded me of something like, you know, early 2000s Blink 182 would do, or something like a joke song. You know,
yeah,
I loved it. It was good. Good on Pontius for writing that one.
Wanna fuck a pirate in the ass?
Yeah, there you go.
Wanna fuck a pirate in the ass?
Do you hear how pirates are gay? Like conspiracy theory?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a long thing. Actually, Google it. It's very interesting. It makes me mad because, like, I don't know.
Pirates are gay.
Like, all of them. Like, they were just.
Are you talking?
They were just like butt sexing each other on the thing the whole time.
Probably.
Well, you get bored out there.
But like that's what got them out there in the it's just,
I don't think that's what got I don't think they said I want to fuck dudes in the ass, so let's build a boat and do it in international waters so we don't get not a fucking are you come on, Chris. You
it's
know better
butt
than
sex,
that.
Guys. It's worth the scurvy.
I don't know.
Nothing like
chance.
cracking an orange after you know. What did Chris call that? A cum fart? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nothing like cracking an orange over a cum fart. Fuck. First look.
Chris is the definition of the guy who reads the headline and doesn't do anything more and just takes it as fact. Chris is like, if the article is on the internet, there's some truth to it.
No, I do a lot of research. That's why I know. Actually, I'm not even going to get into it.
Okay, yeah.
So our first look here, the Amazonian manatee. Strictly vegetarian diet these guys have, so perhaps with this lettuce suit, we can change all that. And Mikey, I'm getting some real squid suit vibes here. I don't know about you.
Dude, 100%.
I'm worried.
Great idea for this one. You know, Pontius or SteveO just in a suit made of lettuce floating in the middle of a manatee reserve area, and they're like chomping on him, kind of. It's like the manatee salad toss is the thing, but this is not funny. It's like this is the one where I wrote down the ratio of hits and misses on WildBoyz is, I think, worse than any other like Jackass or Viva La Bam thing, where like some of them are just really bad, but it's tough because you're dealing with animals and you don't know how they're going to react. But it's amazing how often that still ends up making it into the show. And this would be one of them where I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that.
The weirdest thing with manatees, when I was a kid, we were like in Florida, I think. We were on a boat. I barely remember it, but I remember there was signs all over, say, like, watch out for these things. And it was like pictures of like sea cows, basically. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and they said they're endangered, so like watch out for them, et cetera, et cetera. And never heard anything about them ever again in my life. And I was like, ask people. I'm like, what are those things that were out there? And like nobody seemed to have any recollection of what it was. So for like 18 years of my life, I thought these things were fucking, like, I thought I made the whole thing up in my head. So I have this like weird aura and like majesticness about these floating sea cows that just hang around that I thought were actually mythological creatures that I made up in my mind and found out they were actually real. It's really weird.
You know what's wild to me about these? They're vegetarian, so they just eat salads and whatever. I don't know. They order from Fresh or are
they ranch, or are they more like
definitely
olive oil
Caesar?
and vinegar?
I think they're olive oil and vinaigrette. But how are they so fat? How much lettuce are they eating?
It's all the dressing, man. They're not really there for the salad.
By the way, if you're a vegetarian and you live in the Amazon, how are you going extinct? You basically live in a giant salad. It should be so easy for you to get food. Just bite any leaf. You're living in a salad, doing the backstroke in your meal.
Living in a salad. That sounds like a punk band that's like a vegan.
Living in a
like
salad.
their EP, their debut EP.
Yeah,
living in a salad.
Or Bon Jovi's next attempt.
Yeah.
Oh, we're halfway there.
Please don't. I gotta ask you guys though, because to me, and trust me, I know, cows are you have to be able to tip a cow for it to be a cow. Right. So if these are the cows of the sea, how do you tip a manatee?
Well, I think they probably have that toxic immobility, the same, or tonic immobility, the same things like sharks. When you flip them upside down, they just like, and they can't, they get paralyzed.
That could be it. That could be it.
Okay, fair.
Let's just choose to believe that. Hopefully.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. We're all in agreement here. SteveO next with a stick bug crawling up his arm. He says, why do they call this a stick bug? it was a good dad joke. I don't know.
Yeah.
State the obvious. Get a quick laugh. SteveO does some ballerina moves here to, I can only assume it's a mating dance of the stick bugs. But while this is all going on, we got Pontius here. Sneaky Pontius again with a fucking spider. Puts it on this poor camera guy again. Sorry, Mikey, you've said his name like 4 times.
It's Mark Rackley.
Mark Rackley. And it's a running joke now. And I'm curious to see if this will come up in later episodes or if this was just like a rainforest thing they did for a while.
I know that this is the kind of it's a pretty big Jackass shtick where they play a continual prank on the cast behind the cameras, and I always love it. I always love being let behind the scenes of what's going on during filming, and that's I think one of the reasons why I loved Jackass Forever so much is because half of the stunts were kind of about pranking the staff on set. It was like, okay, we have the stunt, and sure, we'll get some good filming there, but we're also going to fuck with people and like break the fourth wall a little bit. And it seems like WildBoyz does that a lot. And I'm always game for it.
Right. 100%. So guys, on the last episode, you might remember we mentioned that we posed the question, is there anybody out there that is wilder than the WildBoyz, perhaps in an indigenous tribe that we haven't identified yet? So I have a challenge. I think for the next season, let's keep our eyes peeled. And as we meet indigenous tribes, because I'm sure we'll meet at least a couple in the WildBoyz, let's see if we find one that's we believe
the WildBoyz
is wilder than the WildBoyz.
I like that a lot.
This first tribe, there's over 200 in the Amazon, by the way, but this first one is is it the Mimi? Is that
I think SteveO said Mimi, Pontius said Meme, and I'm going to go with Pontius's pronunciation on this.
So there we go. We're going to do a meet and greet with the Meme or the Mimi, whatever you prefer. They do this thing there where they have this, it's a pupunya fruit.
Yeah.
The women, they chew them up, they spit it out in the ground in a hole, they bury it, ferment it for a while, and then everybody drinks it and gets fucking wasted off this stuff.
Fuck.
So Chris Pontius takes a drink, almost pukes it up, and I love his actions here. He like claws at the air like a panther for a minute, and then he just goes, all right, I'm cool. Like that's what did it for him. That calmed him down. That helped it go down the pipe.
He's being lit on fire from the inside. Like Pontius usually keeps his cool pretty well, but he fucking loses it when he drinks this stuff. And I can't tell, is it because it burns or is it because it's just fucking gross? Like you can't get the image out of your head of the fact that someone just chewed up this food, spit it out, and then buried it. And if you look closely, as Pontius is drinking, he's also chewing, which to me is fucking disgusting because it means there's like a pulp that's been in someone else's mouth and that's what he's ingesting, which is gross. He just doesn't stop
And I don't
chewing.
think those people got toothbrushes.
I wouldn't imagine that they do. You can see on, I don't know if it was Chief Moria or Wathanu, the medicine man. I think it was Wathanu who was kind of there with them drinking. And he has like you're right, like the teeth are all kind of rotted away and that doesn't bode well for the taste of that stuff.
All right, I got a scenario for you two boys.
Okay.
All right.
You're single, on me. Just like let's get that out of the way. You're in your prime years. Okay. You're out visiting, doing what guys do when we're young, visiting random tribes in the Amazon.
Okay.
And the chief's daughter, smoke show. She's actually a hot one. She's still got nice teeth. Like, let's say she's a rocket, right?
Okay.
All right.
But you're
How did I know Chris was going to bring up something about fucking the women in this tribe? I knew it.
Well, like they would be like, hey, surprised. Like this is the thing. And like, like they're like, no commitment. You can stay and be a king of this thing. If you like it, if you don't, leave, no problem. Whatever. It is what it is. But they don't have a condom. So now you have the smoke show. Are you more scared to do that than to hook up with a regular like city girl, even though city girls have more of a chance to get things? But are you more scared that in the Amazon with all the other weird diseases and shit out there, you might get some seriously gnarly STD?
No, because I think the scope of human-to-human STDs is relatively well understood. I don't think there's going to be a differentiation between the STDs from a tribe and in the Amazon and
don't you just feel like it though? Like it's like the gnarliest diseases down there.
So the Amazon in general, I think I would leave there feeling like I've been incurably diseased. Yes, I wouldn't really want to have sex with anything while I was there. But I also am like petrified of unprotected sex in general. So I don't think I'd be taking that risk anyway.
Well, all I got to say is I think if you're going to go down there, you got to pack a machete because you're going to have to hack through some real rough bush to get to the target, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do hear.
That's another thing you got to consider. You know?
That's true.
I mean, hey, at the end of the day, Chris, I think the answer to your question is simple. If she's really a rocket, like you say, I mean, men do stupid shit like this all the time.
Yeah.
If you're in that situation, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You might think you're not going to do it, but have a couple sips of the old pupunya juice.
The old pupunya juice.
You're done. You're done. It's happening. You'll be a king. You'll live there for the next 5 years to get eaten by an anaconda and digested.
And then wink at the camera. Yeah.
Right from the pupunya juice to the poon.
Yeah.
The pupunya. Yeah, there you go.
So...
Do you guys, I wonder how much alcohol is actually in this. It ferments for about 2.5 weeks. I wonder if it's like, because they seem to be saying that they're getting really drunk, and I don't know if that's just them playing it to the camera, but also you can see like when the tribes people are drinking it, they're taking very little sips, and they seem to be getting a little loose. So like, is this like very, very potent, I wonder?
It's not like they got an LCBO they could go hit up, right? It's not like they're drinking booze very often, you know? If
LCBO is the local Ontario liquor store, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario.
The whole world's watched Trailer Park Boys. I know what the LC is.
That's the NSLC, Chris.
I know, but an LC, they'll put two and two together.
Okay, yeah.
You guys still got that shit over there where it has to come out on a fucking conveyor belt and all the booze is behind a big fence?
No, we don't have that.
Never seen that.
I thought that was an Ontario thing.
No.
Okay. Maybe somewhere else. I don't know.
Maybe
heard
the
that
beer
was a thing
store
over there.
The beer store does that sometimes, yeah. Yeah, man,
Okay.
People from the US who don't realize how government controlled alcohol is in Canada, it feels like we're still kind of under prohibition in some ways. It's wild.
Yeah, you get most of Canadian
here,
in the States for cheaper than you can get in Canada.
Yep.
Significantly.
Interesting.
Like more than half the price.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing. Come to Canada. The alcohol is stronger, apparently. I don't know.
Much more expensive.
That's the thing. I remember there was a fucking 70s show. You remember that show where they like went over the border to get Canadian booze because it was supposed to be stronger, and it was a whole fucking thing. Yeah. But yeah, back to the tribe for a second. I want to talk about basically what's to come next, because this is pretty gnarly. This next thing that they do, they're going to meet the chief of the village here. And Jesus Christ, maybe this thing here, guys, I've actually seen this before. This is a ceremony they do for boys becoming men. So they're probably like 12, maybe even younger than that. But they go meet the chief and they have this glove that's like a woven glove out of some sort of, I don't know, some sort of tree or something. But they put these ants, they're like some sort of fire ant in the glove. And the point here is that the boys have to stick their hand in this glove and the chief will sing the ceremonial song. And the song, I don't know, it probably takes a couple minutes when the boys do this. But the objective here is to just keep your hand in this fucking glove while these ants like sting you repeatedly over and over and over. And these things, you could see when the camera pokes in there, they're big, fat, fucking juicy.
I'm pretty sure they're bullet
big old stingers. They're... Yeah, bullet ants? Is that what you said?
I'm pretty sure. Bullet ants, they say, like the sting of a bullet ant feels like you're getting shot, hence the name.
I was going to ask because they don't say which ants they were, but I figured Chris would probably
I know I've seen this ceremony done in other shows and in other like documentaries types things. I don't know if they was in a different place where they definitely do a ceremony like this in some tribe with bullet ants. So I'm assuming it's the same one, because how many people get this great fucking idea?
So this thing, though, the first time I saw this was in this documentary. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was like these little kids doing this fucking thing and just crying and fucking trying their best to just keep their hands in here, and they can't move. Like, the chief's not going to let them puss out, and they're not going to puss out in front of all their friends. They want to be a man after all. But Jesus Christ, when they pulled their hands out, and I'm talking about the kids here, not Pontius and SteveO, it didn't even look like a hand anymore.
Yeah.
It looked like they had a fucking red swollen boulder with little like fucking like fingers poking out of it. And like I get it that this is the cultural thing. This is what they fucking do to toughen them up and see if they can pass the rite of passage. But Jesus Christ, man, it's pretty fucking gnarly. They are not fucking around here.
It's crazy because, I mean, you know, skipping a bit to the end of this stunt, Pontius and SteveO end up in the hospital getting shots to help with the healing of this. But like, they clearly don't have that in the Meme tribe. Maybe they have like some herbs and stuff they can use that'll help. Yeah, plant medicine. But I wanted to see someone in the tribe do it to get a sense of like how long the ritual is supposed to last, because like immediately, this is what I found crazy. Immediately, Pontius and SteveO lose their mind. It's like it barely touches their hand and they're already screaming, which means the ants start biting immediately, and they all go through the same reaction. They both go through the same reaction. They put their hands in, they're screaming in agony, like guttural screams, and then their eyes kind of roll back and they get a little calm and it looks like they're about to pass out. They both go through that and then they come back to, and they're able to handle it a little bit more. It's like the adrenaline's popped in and they avoided fainting. But what I'm curious to see is how long this process is actually supposed to take versus how long they keep their hands in there. Do you think they did it less or more than what the tribes people typically do?
I don't think they did it more.
Yeah, I think they did it less.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
To be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was probably that much longer. You know what I mean? Like if you've seen what happened to their hands, it's not like they half-assed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I couldn't imagine much more of that. But yeah, I don't know.
I wonder. The look of them fainting, but SteveO makes the point afterwards. He's like, I should have gone first, and 100%.
Oh yeah.
The worst part about that would be the anticipation of seeing Pontius screaming. And I bet you there's an element of SteveO like, oh, is he putting that on? Like, is that for the camera or is it real? And now your heart starts to race and you're wondering how bad it's going to be. It looks fucking creepy as hell.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I would not want to do this. I got to ask you guys. We don't like to get too philosophical or what have you on this podcast and go too deep into things, but I do want to ask the question. This is actually more of a serious question for a change. Do you guys think rites of passage like this, I don't know, because we don't really have this in our culture anymore, I guess. Do you think this is important? Do you think that there's value to doing something like this to, say, like a younger boy who's, hitting puberty or whatever? Do you think 100%. There's value there?
I genuinely think that the toughening up of what people like to call, my most hated word, toxic masculinity, blah, blah, blah. I think it's actually a natural thing that guys need to fucking go through to kind of like harden you. And some people say it's like this or this, but I think it generally builds character and strength in people. Like hazing to a certain extent, as long as it's not like mentally malicious. I think it's got to be more of like a physical thing, like something along those lines where it's not like some kind of like putting someone down. It's more of a building somebody up through physical endurance and putting themselves in a stressful situation. And that's serious.
I think a lot of it depends on the potential for things going wrong. And I think in the case of the bullet ants, it's probably unlikely that you're going to have any, I don't know this, I'm just guessing, but any side effects apart from pain and swelling. So if that's the case and you're not at risk of dying, then sure, I can definitely see the value in this. It's something that everyone goes through. I think mentally and physically putting yourself through feats of exhaustion or pain can have a benefit to it. I would say rather than one afternoon of having to put your hand in a bullet ant glove, go through 6 months of exercise training every day for 2 hours. That should be the coming of age, because that's excruciating. You come out stronger, not just mentally, but physically. You're in better shape and you've gone through this thing and you're actually healthier for it. That to me would be a better, but quote unquote coming of age thing.
Mikey, you might not ever had the tenacity to do that exercise and workout if you didn't have to go through the physical pain and me and my friends beating you up for fucking 10 years, never mind 6 months. So
that was my self-defense mechanism.
It builds those calluses, right? And now you want to get strong, so you can't ever let someone do that to you again. So my point is rested. Although that was a little more mental torture. Sorry about the mental side of things. You get a little carried away when you're a kid.
I'll revert to what I said at the beginning. I wake up every day thinking my life is about to unfurl, and I have to imagine some of that has something to do with how I was treated.
Yeah. No, I'm with Chris on this one. Actually, I agree. I think
Thanks,
it's
Jen.
so important you have to have some sort of, it doesn't have to just be senseless violence or pain for the sake of pain, but I think the condition needs to be at some point, everybody should go through something in their lives where it's all on them to come out of this situation stronger and figure out how that's going to happen. And you can't just have everything handed to you, because then you don't fucking grow up. And that can happen in so many different fucking ways, whether it's you got your parents kicked you out of your house at 18 and said, you're on your own, fucking survive on your own or whatever it is. There's a ton of shit that can happen to you. But I think in some factor, if you have that in your life and you learn to just cope with it, you're way better off in your life.
I think that's how you grow a little bit. The one thing I'll say is hazing in general, I think is pretty shit. especially because I think of what that does mentally. But apart from that, no, coming of age, trials and tribulations. Yeah, I think there's definitely a benefit to it.
Yeah, look at us, fucking wild boys to men right here. That's
wild boys to men. Wow. Fuck yeah! Oh my god. Did you guys notice at the end, because we mentioned that they go to get the shots, they go to the emergency room, and then it cuts again to the next day, and Pontius is coming out of his hotel room, and he's still like, his hand is swollen up larger than his face. And all I wanted at this point was for SteveO to come and give him a hand lick, just like he did the foot lick when they were in India.
Well, they did a high five, which was almost even better.
They did.
That was really funny. Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off at that. So great. They knew it was going to suck, but they did it for the joke, and I appreciate that. Yeah. So, where the fuck were we? I don't even remember. Let's see.
We can move to the woolly monkeys at this point.
Okay, woolly monkeys it is. So, yeah, there's over 50 primate species in the rainforest here. The woolly monkey is one of them. Chris Pontius wonders if they shave their fandanglers like Pamela Anderson.
These things are so fucking cute. I like these guys a lot. They're like those I Can Has cheeseburger cats from way back in the day. I love these guys.
So there's not much here. There's just a quick little segment to make fun of the monkeys, basically, and we're off to what I think is another A+ sketch here. This is the giant lily pads. And as Pontius tells us, the bullfrogs, they like to come out, sit on the lily pads, get some sun, whatever they need to do. I knew immediately what they were going to do. So Pontius goes off camera, and he reappears running at full speed. They're going to try to run across the lily pads, but you already know it's not going to work. And it doesn't, right? Like, first step, he's submerged in the water. And I love that he just starts fucking screaming. He's rolling around. And the reason he wants to come out is because he says, "Get me out, creepy things."
But of
doesn't
course,
specify what, because he doesn't know.
Because you wouldn't know that to me. I would rather that's like the idea of going in like swamp water in the Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Even if he's making a joke, like he comes back on camera and he's got like a bullfrog mask on, which is really funny, and he's got like bullfrog flippers. That's like peak WildBoyz to me. Even though the stunt doesn't really go anywhere, sometimes it's okay if they kind of just like fall face first and then just joke about how it didn't work. That's all right with me. And that's kind of what this one is. And because of the era of the aura of it and the concept of Pontius thinking he could run across lily pads, I was like, I'm a fan of this one.
I love it. Just like how earnest that reaction was. Like, creepy things, get me out of here, get me out of here. You know, it's like, it was not putting on a joke. It was just literally like him still trying to maintain his coolness, but like clearly petrified at what's happening right now. Something touched him and he did not like it.
Well, especially because Pontius doesn't usually get the creepy crawlies.
Right, that's why it was so fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's something about that fear of the dark and the unknown, that just makes it so much worse. It could
You're
be
imagining it to be way worse than the actual real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be John Voight down there. For all we know. So, Trip Taylor here, he finally gets a spider on him. They're still doing the bit. I love this. They've extended it to other people. And like, honestly, I don't know about either of you guys. We kind of talked about phobias and stuff, but I think if any of us had the spider put on our back, we'd probably freak out a little bit.
Right? I wouldn't love it.
No, I wouldn't at all.
Fuck you, Chris. Yes, you would.
I have a perfect example. I was up in Muskoka. Obviously, it's not a big wolf spider, but legitimately, I look at my buddy Pat, like we're having dinner or having lunch at this golf course, and he's like, I see this look in his eyes of like pure fear. He's just like frozen. He's like, dude, you have the biggest spider I've ever seen on your shoulder. I looked down, it was like a millimeter from my eyes, and it was like the size of my whole shoulder. And I was like, oh, did not bother. Surprisingly, I'm not making this shit up. Like if you tell me, if I saw a snake from like a mile away or even on TV, I'd be like crying. But like spiders do not bother me. And I like the furry ones. I find them like cuter because they got hair. Like it's like a dog.
Yeah. It's surprising, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to run some tests. Maybe I'll see if I can get a reaction out of you.
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Do you give me permission, Chris, if you're so confident, to do this to you?
With a real spider? Sure.
Yeah. Okay. But then you're not going to try to get revenge on me.
No, it's not a snake. Like, don't put like friggin' spider in my bed so I lift up the covers. But like, if you put one on my back, I'm not going to freak out.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
So, boys,
I'll report back.
Report back, please. Please, we need that. We need the update on the show, boys. I gotta ask you though, what's your favorite kind of pit? Like a peach pit, a Brad pit,
a pit bull,
maybe a snake pit,
a pit bull, right, Hanker?
A pit bull.
He's got Chris has his our sister's dog over there. Ball pit. Ball pit's got to be
ball pit.
Yeah.
Anaconda ball pit.
Maybe Michael Pitt.
I know what my least favorite one is.
What?
I think we're about to get into it.
Yeah, the snake pit.
Yeah.
And Indy would be shitting his pants right here. But SteveO, he ain't no Indiana Jones. He wants to get the fuck in there right away. So, as we all know, if a snake is threatening you from a snake pit, the best thing you can do is throw your garter belt over him because he can't do anything now, right?
Yeah.
And I love that the garter belt is literally like the thinnest piece of fabric you've ever seen. Thinner than the toilet paper you get in any gas station bathroom.
Like half-ply toilet paper?
Somehow the snake is able to break through and almost gets SteveO the first time. And he's not going to stop till he gets in there, or so he thinks, but he does get bitten at a second attempt here. And
the first time the snake lunges at him, my mouth literally dropped. It looked so violent. My mouth was agape as I was watching this. I was like actually scared for SteveO.
It's aggressive, man.
It was a dick. It was
literally. I don't think there's a bigger fear I have in the entire world than falling into a snake pit. I'd rather be burned alive.
Snake pits. So snake pits.
They exist.
Can we talk about the concept? So here's the thing. Imagine living somewhere where you could just go outside and dig a hole and the next day you have like pythons in it. I would move out of that place so quickly. If I dig a hole in my backyard, I'll come back and there'll be like a tennis ball from a yard away. Like tennis balls always end up in yards and stuff like that. That's all we're getting. Pythons? No, like all of a tennis ball, not a ball python.
People? And what do the snakes beef? Do they just like live on top of each other? It's so creepy, man. They're the weirdest fucking things in the world. Like I don't get them. Fucking devil like spaghetti.
Devil spaghetti. Does that mean the devil eats the spaghetti or he prepares it for you?
He prepares it to fuck up your goddamn dreams. That's what he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Puts them in the fucking pits in the middle of the Amazon.
Like, you know, in a devil spaghetti. What's the sauce like in a
blood
spaghetti?
Venom?
Ooh. Bloody venom. That tracks.
Depends. You want aliolio or do you want tomatoes base? You know.
So
Chris can't talk about pasta without putting on an Italian accent.
Of course.
A little Parmigiano Reggiano.
Okay.
Oh man,
it sounds delicious, especially in that accent.
I love that prostitute from
what?
Oh, from White Lotus. Chris just lives in his head sometimes.
Okay.
My accent sounded almost like hers, and I went daydreaming.
You were eating spaghetti with a prostitute?
I wouldn't harpy with her.
Put two and two together. Man yells at Snake here because he got bitten. But yeah, they figure out, what if we put the loincloth down there, then the snake can latch on, we can pull it out, which works. It works.
Yeah.
And now that SteveO has the snake, he doesn't know what the fuck to do with him. He's just waving him around going, what do I do with this thing? Which, it's perfect WildBoyz. This is like the formula. It's don't think too far ahead, you know? Let's just cross that bridge when we get there, and they do. He spits on the snake, and then they leave, and that's pretty much the end of the episode right there.
It's this was a good way to end it. There was a little bit of danger, a little bit of pain. SteveO got like rocked by that snake. He was bleeding immediately. And it had Pontius kind of like egging him on a little bit, being kind of brave, and SteveO being hesitant. This was like the perfect concoction of a WildBoyz sketch. I really liked it. I know, Chris, you're probably going to disagree because you don't want to deal with the snakes, but like in concept, it has all the ingredients you want for a successful sketch.
No, I thought it was great. It put a lot of fear, you know, like I watched some of these things to be kind of spooked out. You know what I mean? Like, I still love my nature documentaries. I don't want to watch a whole snake episode, but like the adrenaline spikes when you see the snake thing. And it just like that concept of a snake pit, it's been a fear of mine my whole life. So when I see just the prospect of someone going into one is just like, especially when one of the guys is such a dick from the beginning, like that one snake who's just freaking, I'm like, what? Like, I would just say no. I just don't understand how anything in your mind frame would let you do that. So it obviously is I like the end of the episode. Like, I don't like seeing it, but like, I like seeing it. It's like a horror movie, you know? Like, you want to close your eyes, but you got your finger open a little bit.
Your finger open?
Yeah, like this.
You just
like
open
Star
one
Wars
finger?
Thing.
That's Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Live long and prosper.
Whatever. Nerd shit.
All right, boys, we've made it to that special time in the episode where Jay didn't forget this fucking time. Hey, go me. MVP, LVP, who you got?
Let's
who
do
wants
it.
to start?
Chris, why don't you start us off?
Unless somebody else is ready.
No, I want to put you on the spot because you always do this. You never have one ready. It's not like
No, because I
recorded
purposely like
almost
to think of
100
it on the
episodes of
fly
this.
because it gets more fun that way. But
Yeah, but you're not doing that. That's the point.
yeah. Like I like to have like 20 seconds to think about it, but whatever. Now I'm too busy talking. I'm trying to think. I can't talk and think at the same time. So
This is when you do your best work. Let's see what happens.
It's not because I'm not creative right now. I'm
Pull
going with SteveO.
Pull a Chris Pontius. Oh, SteveO. Okay, there you go.
Just the sheer fact of him going into that thing in the first place. We had a great puke scene with him trying to drink that juice. I love how the indigenous like tribes always love SteveO because he fully embraces. Like we might see it like stupid people are like, oh, cultural appropriate. Da, da, da. It's like those people actually enjoy the fact that people are embracing their culture and taking them on. So I like that aspect of it. It was just an all around great episode for him. Everything he was in was pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, he ran the gamut. I like that one. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, for an MVP. Sorry, I'm having a lot of fucking congestion over here. Ooh, it's nasty. If someone want to look in my nose and figure out what's going on in there, I'd appreciate it.
Well, we can't because you don't turn on your webcams.
Dude, you want to hear the
for the right person?
Real interjection. Literally the grossest thing I ever found out is an actual thing. I was at my buddy's place and he has this like little kid, like a year and a bit old, right? And the kid's sick, because kids just get sick all the time. And he shows me this thing. He's like, you know what this is? It's like a fucking tube. And this tube, he's like, basically you stick this tube into their nose and you suck their boogers out because kids don't know how to get rid of it.
What?
I almost threw up on the spot when he was telling me about this. I'm like, you're fucking with me. He's like, no, 100%. And then I look at his kid's nose and it's just all green.
Oh, no, dude. Did he say, does it ever get in his mouth?
I couldn't ask questions. I just had to change the subject. But
what would you do if it got in your mouth? Would you swallow it or spit it out, Chris?
Well, I'm always just obviously a swallower.
Chris is literally covering his face right now. Fucking hell. That's disgusting.
I just thought of doing that for Jay.
Oh. So, Jay, what's your MVP? Did we lose Jay? Is he dead? Oh,
no
Jay muted his mic so he could blow his nose.
I did, yeah. And it was the great part about that is I had all that fantastic story in the background to motivate me to clear my sinuses. So it worked really well, actually. I think for this one, guys, I'm gonna go with Chris Pontius. Pontius, it's easy, but he really sold the show for me on this one. He impressed me. He was able to wrangle the shit out of that snake right out of the gate. He had a ton of great jokes and one-liners. He was fun the whole time, laughing, smiling. He introduced the fucking spider gag to us. And just like even the little things that when SteveO was having trouble in this episode, he was always there like cheerleading him and making things easier for SteveO. So he was like the guy you wanted around on this trip to the Amazon rainforest. He's my guy.
I like that. It's a very WildBoyz forward episode, which I appreciate. It's always good to see. It's like when Johnny Knoxville gets the MVP in a Jackass episode. That's what you're there to see. So it's nice to see them performing well. I have to show some love to Mark Rackley, who is front and center. The main cameraman in this episode. He got the spider thrown at him. He got attacked by the electric eel, and gave us a good story because he's a cameraman who got bit by a shark at one point. So Mark Rackley, you're going to be my MVP of this one. Someone's got to show you some love, clearly, because you didn't even get your own title card. So Mark Rackley, there you go.
My LVP is the anaconda from the Anaconda because nobody likes to wear condoms, and I feel bad for him having to put one on.
So he's the MVP, the LVP because he had one applied to him and he didn't want it?
Only losers wear condoms, kids.
Oh, okay. Well, then call me a loser.
So he's the loser valuable player.
Loser valuable player. Jay, what about you?
Howie Mandel, fucking hypocrite, man. Like He comes out here saying, "Oh, I'm a germaphobe. Now I'll fist bump you or elbow bump you, but I ain't gonna shake your hand." And yet you got famous putting latex over your head and blowing it up, and you're scared of germs. You know what I think? I think you're just a fucking germ narcissist, Howie Mandel. You like your own germs so much, you just can't have anyone else's germs on your body because that would just ruin the pristine environment you got there. Fucking asshole.
You know what? It does. And a lot of people have said this, but it does seem like he is kind of just a guy who has that as part of his shtick in a way.
Yeah.
Like he seems like he doesn't actually care about it that much, but he'll
care about when it's convenient or a show.
Yeah. It's like a little joke. He likes when people are like, "Oh, did you hear? He won't shake people's hands." But by the way, if I were ever famous, I would love people to know that I don't shake hands because I don't want to shake everyone's hands. That's kind of...
I would love to. I'm a man of the people, and that's why you're not.
Yeah, of course. Of course you would. Of course you would. Unless those people are from the Amazon because of the quote unquote diseases you think they carry. My LVP is going to be Scott Limpus. Scott Limpus is the safety consultant on WildBoyz, or at least for this episode, because I can't imagine Scott Limpus had any say or control over the set when SteveO is standing over a snake pit and the snake is like lunging at him. What is the safety coordinator doing at that point to earn his paycheck or her paycheck? Just sitting there like, yeah, I don't know, go in there and I guess we'll see what happens. Like, I don't, like at some point, don't you have to, like, thank God he didn't, but like you got to feel like the biggest cuck in the world if you're the safety consultant on set of WildBoyz when they're facing down a fucking snake pit.
Oh yeah. Cucks all the way.
Cucks all the way.
Hey, and speaking of that, if you want,
speaking of that,
if all you cucks want to reach out at Jackass Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you like to find us, please do. And let us know what you thought of the WildBoyz Season 2, Episode 2. If you watched it along with us, what your thoughts are. And we'll be back next week with Episode 3, of course, continuing this ride through the jungle. I wonder where we're going next. Any guesses, boys?
Africa.
Chris, what's your guess? Mikey probably looked at the fucking titles.
No.
Are we going to Africa? You didn't?
Did you or not?
I didn't look at the titles.
Okay, so I'm going to say we are going to Argentina.
Oh.
Nice.
Delaware, maybe?
Delaware. Yeah. I want one in Delaware. Didn't we get one from season 1 of like Florida or something?
Well, they did a lot of the lion filming shit in Florida.
Yes. Yeah.
Which they later admitted to.
Well then, until next week when we see you from Delaware, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye, I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Bye, I'm
Chris
late.
is looking down at his phone. Bye, I'm Mikey
I'm trying to find out where we're going next week.
Has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it.